Yeah, man!
Hello, my name is Miguel, and today I'm gonna make for you oxtail stew. Alright, so you're gonna need about a pound of oxtail, a stock of scallion, spring of thyme, an onion and a half, 8 garlic cloves, a piece of ginger, small piece of ginger, a couple grinds of nutmeg, spring of thyme, said before, marjoram, a teaspoon of marjoram. This is whole cloves. We need about a couple whole cloves, 2 whole cloves. Parsley, a tablespoon of dried or fresh parsley. Basil, 1 tablespoon as well. A tablespoon of salt. I use sea salt. Rosemary, a teaspoon of ground rosemary. Oregano, and pimento berry, about 1/4 teaspoon of dried pimento berries. This is our oxtail. Alright, if you know anything about me, you know I don't wash meat. However, if you have to wash it, it's frozen somewhat, just drizzle a couple drops of white vinegar, add the water, and then drain it immediately. Next, we're going to prepare our ingredients, our seasonings. So I add my seasonings twice. So add 1 and add 2. Plate on the left is add 1. Plate on the right is add 2, or bowl or container. This is rosemary. Measure and add 1 teaspoon grinded rosemary. Do as you see me doing and grind the rosemary fine. Add half in each container. This is basil. Measure and add 1 tablespoon. Put half in each container. Just 1 tablespoon you're going to split in half. This is pimento berry. It's optional. You just need a 1/4 teaspoon. Add it to the container. Dried parsley. Remember now, you can use any of these herbs fresh. Measure and add 1 tablespoon dried parsley. This is oregano. Measure and add a teaspoon, no, like half a teaspoon. Oregano is kind of strong, so you don't need plenty. Whole cloves. Find 2 solid whole cloves and add 1 to each bowl. Spring of thyme. Gotta wash that off. Oh, earlier that was marjoram, so you just need a teaspoon of marjoram. Add that add the marjoram, and now this is the oregano. You need half a teaspoon. The onion, Cut the onion in half, remove the skin, just the brown leaf. I cut it in half because it's easier to handle. Remove the brown leaf. First layer of the onion is the strongest. Remember that. Scallion. Cut the root end off. Cut the root end, the tips off. Remove all dying leaves. We're going to rinse it next. You need a piece of ginger, a 1/4 inch piece of ginger, say the first bend of your finger, of your pinky finger. A size the first bend of your pinky finger. Now, remove the leaf or the skin from the garlic cloves. With the garlic, look for blushes or any spoiled spots and trim those and cut the ends off as well. Cut off ends as well. So I'm going to rinse the garlic and the scallion with thyme. Alright, I just rinse the garlic, the thyme, and the scallion. The scallion, the thyme, and the garlic. You don't rinse the onion, it's already cut. Dice the scallion. Scallion is optional as well. Add half to container 1 and the other half to container 2. In container 1, keep the dried ingredients separate. So the herbs, keep them in one little bunch or pile, and the onion, which I'm dicing right now, I'm slicing right now, keep it with the scallion. You're gonna see why, because we're gonna burn the onion and the scallion, and that spruces the flavor of your oxtail stew. Do as you see me doing and slice the onion. Put half in container 1, the second half in container 2. This is a grinder. It's not sharp. Grind the garlic to puree. If you don't have a grinder or a shredder like this, you can mash the garlic. put half in container 1 and half in container 2. Keep the garlic separate from the onion, from the herb in container 1. Alright, so this is what you want. Put your seasonings, cover it properly, and put your seasonings aside for later. So that we won't forget, we can add the salt now. So measure and add 1 tablespoon of, I use sea salt. In container 1, put the salt over the herbs. Put half of 1 tablespoon in each container. So the only thing we need to add next is the white vinegar. This is optional as well. I'm doing natural cooking, so one of the ingredients that I use in natural cooking to enhance the flavor, bring out the flavor, make it stew delicious is like 1/4 teaspoon or a couple grinds, a few grinds of nutmeg. Nutmeg goes in container 1. Ginger, piece of ginger goes in container 1 as well. This is a piece of Scotch bonnet pepper. Just need a small piece. If you don't have access to Scotch bonnet pepper, you can always use red pepper, chili pepper. Just cut 1 chili pepper in half and just put it in the stew. Alright, put the pepper in container 2. Next, put to heat a pressure cooker. Put the stove's gauge on 4, medium-low. Allow the pressure cooker's pot or pan to dry out somewhat. Alright, just to say, when you buy oxtail, say buy thick. This is about 1/4 inch thickness. This is what you want. You don't want an oxtail with this bag of fat on it. You want it with mostly meat, although they all most of the time have fat, a lot of fat on the edges. This package was the only one amongst many that didn't have all the fat around it. That many fat around the oxtail. After a minute or so, and no water is in the pot or pan, add oil. In the end, you're going to see I kind of had too much oil, so if you can use 1/4 cup. This spoon that I'm using measures 1/4 cup, so if you can use half of the 1/4 cup, half of this spoon, that would be better. You don't need that much oil. So add a piece of ginger you saw me throw in earlier. And this is container 1, you will add it. After 2 minutes, the oil been getting hot somewhat. This oxtail, we're not gonna add browning nor soy sauce nor any of that stuff. I want you to taste a pure oxtail. So this is oxtail stew. It's oxtail stew, not oxtail brown stew. You gotta be keen to the titles. They're very specific. So lay your oxtail. Put the stove's gauge on 4, medium-low, and allow. After 2 minutes, and it's been frying on the other side for 2 minutes, it's gonna stick when you just put it on. It's gonna stick when you just put it in. Now after 2 minutes, it's easier to move, so you just flip the oxtail on the other side and allow it to burn. And we call this allow it to brown. So this is browning naturally. We're not going to add any browning. So this is browning the oxtail naturally. So just allow it to fry for another 2 minutes on the other side. Alright, 2 minutes passed, 4 minutes in total. Stove's gauge is on 4, medium-low. We are on the right track. Add the diced scallion and the diced onions and stir in. We are now burning the onion and the scallion, and that gives it additional flavor. Alright, you can add just like less than a 1/4 teaspoon, like a pinch, less than a 1/4 teaspoon of jerk seasoning. That spruces the flavor as well, and it's optional. You can use A1 sauce if you don't have jerk seasoning. You can use any kind of meat sauce, but natural. Alright. After a minute, between two, add your mashed garlic. Stir fry, and allow. Just allow the seasonings to burn and the fumes from the seasonings burning. Now I'm adding the herbs. Will enhance the flavor of this natural oxtail stew. After that, you stir it in. After you stirred it in, add 4 cups of water. So that was 2. Now I'm just adding 2 more. So it's 4 cups of water. The stove gauge is on 4, medium low. We're on the right track. Allow. Before you allow, you gotta put the lid on. So make sure the rubber is on the pressure cooker's pot's lid properly, and then you put it in its groove and then put the lid on properly. Put the lid on the pressure cooker's pot properly. This is a nozzle. Just put the nozzle on. Make sure it's on properly. The little rubber on the left hand side, you don't have to touch it, but while the pressure is building, you gotta watch it to see if it's on properly. Once it starts to whistle, we're gonna time it for 25 minutes. So this is our seasonings for container 2. Alright, I'm just adding a tablespoon of white distilled white vinegar. Add it to container 2 so that we won't forget. Alright, it starts to whistle. Once it starts to whistle, the stove gauge is on 4. Put your timer for 25 minutes. This is fried plantain. I'm having it on the side. After the 25 minutes, turn the stove off. If you're in a hurry, just run running water on that side until that section releases. Don't, you hear what I said? Or you just allow it to cool by itself. We're having it today with rice, white rice. We're having it today with white rice. And 2, don't ever take the nozzle up, say you're in a hurry and let the pressure release that way. Don't ever do. Why? Because I believe the flavor escapes that way. So allow it to cool like now. So this took around 10 minutes to cool by itself. Remove the lid. You can always continue cooking in the same pressure cooker pot, but I'm going to transfer the stew. I'm going to transfer the stew to a medium size saucepan. Alright, we're on the right track. This is what it looks like. Take a fork and poke it straight through. Once it goes straight through, that's to say you're on the right track. I already know that it takes 25 minutes to pressure oxtail, so I know it works. You can't go wrong. Follow the 25 minutes. Alright, so now turn your stove back on, put the stove gauge on 4, medium low. We're gonna add container seasonings from container 2. The pepper was in it, so I'm just putting, I just took out the pepper and put it aside. I'm gonna add it near to the end. Alright, so do as you see me doing and add seasonings from container number 2. Stir in. So this is oxtail stew, no browning. It's not that popular, but a few people probably cook like this. It's just an option. Use the pan's lids and cover it properly and allow. It might be new, but I'm not sure. It's not popular. Make sure the lid's on properly. Put the ankle inside the stove. The stove's gauge is on 4, medium low, allow. 20 minutes stewing. The old idea of this thing, the old idea of me cooking this is to show you that it works. And it's an option. You can always cook oxtail this way as well. Alright, so look at your pot, see where you're going. Now would be a good time to remove the thyme stick, because it splashes every time you stir and it messes your stove up, and it might splash and burn you as well. Now would be a good time to add a piece pepper. Remember, now you can use chili pepper. Just use one and just cut it in half. Put the lid on properly. Stove's gauge is on 4, medium low, allow. 15 minutes later, meaning 35 minutes in all. This is what it looks like. We are on the right track. Stir in. Look at your stew. See how thick your gravy is getting. When you stir, don't stir rough. Be gentle. I just remove the pepper. Alright, let's cover it properly. Now would be a good time to put the stove on low and just let it stew and simmer and make all that juice build up and make your oxtail juicy. So now put the stove's gauge on low, almost off low. Cover it properly and just allow it to simmer. 10 minutes on low, 45 minutes in all. This is what it looks like. See how the oil is gathering on the top. You can always skim off the oil. In the end, I'm going to show you how I do that. So this is what your stew look like. It's getting it juicy. It's making your gravy juicy and flavorful. Stove's gauge, now turn your stove back up on 4, medium low. Put the lid on and allow. Alright, 5 minutes later, on to turn the stove back up. It's been 50 minutes in all. And we are on the right track. The water in the stew is evaporating through that little hole on the lid. Now would be a good time to add butter beans, broad beans. You can use even, I was going to say Irish potato, but I wouldn't use Irish potato, but you can. Use a small piece and dice it. But the best thing with this is beans, like broad beans or butter beans. Use the one from the can. Remove the water from the bean and then rinse it somewhat, and then use it. Now would be a good time to add the beans. Alright, you see me adding ketchup. I add half of quarter cup at first, and I add a little bit more. So I would say add a quarter cup. The ketchup is going to thicken the gravy. Alright, put the lid on and allow. Alright, a minute later, so in all 56 minutes later, this is what your oxtail, since after pressure, this is what your oxtail looks like. The gravy is thickening. This is just pure oxtail gravy. You see how it's light brown color. It's not dark as it would look like if you were brown stewing. Alright, so if you want to thicken the gravy some, you can turn the stove up on 6, medium high, and just allow the water in the stew to evaporate and make the gravy thick. Once the gravy starts to stick to the pot's bottom, that's the sign to say it's thick enough and ready. So do as you see me doing, and kind of stir your pot in gently. You see? Once it starts to stick, when I say stick, like when you take up a piece of tape off a wall and it sticks to it slightly, that's what I mean by sticks. So you saw when I move the spoon, the stew sticks to the pot's bottom. It's thick, its juice is perfect. Alright, you finish. Just cover it and allow it. Cover it until ready for serving. Until ready to serve. Alright, so this is our finished product. So, serve. This is Oxtail's Stew. Oxtail Stew. Visit JamaicaDinners.com for the recipe. Subscribe, like, share, cook this meal yourself, and give us feedback. Alright, my time now. Like I said, to be honest, I've never really heard anybody cooking oxtail this way. So it might be new. It's oxtail stew. It's just oxtail without the browning. Most time people cook it like oxtail brown stew. But like I said before, I'm just showing you that it's an option and it does work. And it's flavorful. Alright, so take a scoop of this nice, delicious looking oxtail stew. Alright, you see all that oil gather on the top? You can easily use a spoon like this and just skim off the oil. Because I know some of you are going to say too much oil. But you know what? The fat around the oxtail give off oil too. So be mindful of that. Most oxtail stew are always kind of oily. It's the oil from the fat. Alright, so now you're gonna witness my result. So the gravy is pure. All I'm tasting is oxtail gravy. No browning. Tastes just like oxtail. It's just that with this method you're tasting pure oxtail flavor. You get a chance to enjoy what oxtail tastes like. See, I was telling you about the fat. This oxtail wasn't fatty. These little groups of these pieces of oxtail that I bought wasn't fatty, but it's just this one little piece of fat was on it. So as you see that nice light color brown. That's stew. That's stewing. That's pure stewing, no browning. So you see, I was telling you the fat, most of the oil that you see in the pot, not most, because I did have quite too much oil, but the fat gives off oil. You just need to be mindful of that. The gravy is flavorful. The meat is tender, as you see. It's not too soft that it's not delicious. It's just right. This is how you want oxtail. You don't want it tough and you don't want it too soft. You don't want it too soft. I usually don't like eating the fat, any kind of fat, whether it's on chicken or whatever. So I trim the fat off and eat just the meat. Some people would say that's the best part. A lot of Jamaicans don't like to see when I trim off chicken skin and fat. Them think me and waste the chicken. No mind shop, them eat my piece. My piece of chicken skin that I reject and peel off. Them take it and eat it. I come here with my Jamaica hard as it is and me, but me a dash of chicken skin. Them eat it. Alright, so you see what we do with pimento berries. That's the old clove. You don't eat those. If you say you chew on a piece of old clove, it's not gonna be a good experience. And the pimento berry too is, it's okay if you bite a piece of pimento berry, but it's gonna, the flavor of it is gonna let you know that you just bite or chew a piece of pimento berry. Alright, so you see me between this oxtail's bone. You gotta suck out the marrow in the middle and the juice. Alright, although you see me trimming the fat, on the same oxtail, you see, in the middle part, in the middle, in between the bones, sometimes they have blasted word card, man. It's not fat, it's I know the word, but it's just my mind blank right now. It's the thing that's in between your joints, that white thing that hold your bone up so that your bone won't grind together. It's good for that. I know the word, and I'm gonna have to look it up and edit it. Come to me, man, word. Alright, so you see me enjoying this meal. It's obviously good. Remember now, subscribe, like, share. Cook this meal yourself and give us feedback. Yes, in between the oxtail is collagen. So no, there's a difference. This method is just another option. Most of you international people always ask me what is browning and where do you get it. Alright, you don't have to worry about browning with this meal. You can cook it without browning. Alright, until next time. Yeah, man! Note, after cooking, if you allow the stew to sit between 6 hours and then warm it up before serving, the stew matures and you don't have to add ketchup at the end.